Hi guys, welcome to Brass Bootcamp. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a tutorial on how to improve your range if you're a beginner brass player. So, people who are going to get the most out of this video is, if you're already comfortable with the notes C, D, E, F and G, then this video is basically telling you which exercises and how to think about playing the notes A's, B's and C's to get you that full octave of the C major scale. So for today's video, I'm going to be using Team Brass. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is tongue position and what you need to do to go from the low, middle to high notes. So the first page I'm going to look at is page 16 in the trumpet book. It's called Slurs 1. And if you're playing another brass instrument, all my tips apply, but your page numbers might be slightly different in Team Brass. So this slur page, it's basically introducing the lip slur. So what is a lip slur? It is basically changing between two notes that are on the same set of valves. So if you have a look at the first four little mini exercises at the very top of the page, we're switching between C's and G's or G's and C's. So as you should all know by now, your low notes are nice open tor position or if you're not tonguing the note, and your G's are a ta or ah. So with these exercises, we're going to be using our tongue position to switch between the two notes. So the very first little exercise, labelled with the number 1, we've got a G slowing down to a C. So we're going to be going ta or. It should sound like this. So because the first note of each phrase needs to be tongued, I said ta or, and then just lowered my tongue position, exactly the same as if you were going to sing it, or whistle it. Notice if you whistle it, your lips actually don't move. Same when you're playing your instrument, your lips shouldn't really move. All it is your tongue moving from an R position to an O position. Second exercise is a C up to a G, so this is a tor, an O position up to an R position. Yeah. Number 3 is a G to C to G, so ah or ah. And number 4 is the same thing but upside down. So you're after a nice smooth transition between the notes, and you're after the sound quality to be exactly the same between the low and the middle note. So we don't want the low one to be really big sounding and the high one to be squeezed, or we don't want the high one to be nice and the low one to be all breathy. So nice even between the two notes. So that's basically the main technique. If you look through the whole of the page 16, it's basically that same technique but just expanded out to cover some different valve combinations. So the first main exercise, labelled number 5, is the same thing as we've just done, but we do the same thing on different valve combinations. So we play on no valves, and then we do the same pattern on second valve, and then the same pattern on first valve, and the same pattern on first and second valves. Luckily it's all written in, and also some of you, we might be introducing some new notes at this point. So if you have a look in the one that's marked second valve, we've got a little sharp sign in front of the F's, so that is second valve, and it tells you above. So F sharp is the same as low B, which is second valve, and then if you have a look in the next one, we've got our B flats, which is first valve. So change between B flat and F, all on the same valves, and you all should be happy with your low A's on 1 and 2, up to your E's all on 1 and 2. So those of you who've only learnt C, D, E, F and G, there's low B's on second valve, low B flats and low A's, and F sharps for you to all have to think about. But again, they're all written in, follow the finger markings on the music. So I'll just play you through number 5 quickly. So for all of those, I was going to wow, wow. Yeah, so from a tor position to an R position. That's it. So you don't have to play it that fast. You can play it much, much slower and just get those transitions as smooth as you can, and also nice and even in terms of rhythm. So moving through exercise 6 and exercise 7, they only use no fingers, so it's C's and G's. Just make sure you're following the rhythm. So number 6 is in 3/4 time signature, so make sure you're counting and playing the right rhythms, and all your changes between the C's and G's are nice and smooth. And it's the same thing on number 7. That's in 4/4, slightly longer, and so that means there's more switches between the two. And again, you're after nice even sound and a nice smooth transition. So then the last exercises, number 8 and number 9, these are slurs but using our fingers. Our tongue position sort of does apply here as well. So if you have a look at number 9, it's C's to E's. So you might be seeing my fingers moving up and down. That does help with the slur, but your tongue position does need to move slightly. And the same when we're moving between C's and F's. So these exercises is working on getting your tongue position and your fingers nicely synced up. So as you move your tongue position, getting it nicely synced up with your fingers. Same thing applies to number 9. That time we're starting on the high note and going lower down. So it's moving from the highs to the lows. So I'll play you a little bit of number 9. So watch out for the F sharps, second valve at the beginning of number 9, then the rest of the notes are all nice and easy. So that's the basics. We've used 2 of our 3 tongue positions. Now we're going to move on to obviously some of the higher notes. So if you know, if you've been through in your lessons what fingers you press down for A's, B's and C's, then you can flick through to the scales page, which is number 28. So here you should have, on the 3rd line of music on page 28, the full C major scale written out. So we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B and C. So for those of you who don't already know these notes, so high A is on the 2nd space up, and that's 1st and 2nd valve. High B is on the middle line of the stave, and that's 2nd valve. Then high C is on in the 3rd space, and that's no fingers as well. So what we need to do for these 3 higher notes is we need to say T. So low ones are to, and the middle ones are R, and then the high notes are T. So to, ta, and T. And if we were slurring, it would be O, R, E. So one more thing I need to talk about as we're playing up to these higher notes that some of you might, if you're struggling with your high notes, this is a really good tip. So your tongue position is the first thing I think about when I'm playing my high notes. The second thing, which is really important, is the speed of your you're blowing through the instrument. So for the low notes, you can blow quite a slow air stream. So as you're going higher, you're blowing much faster through the instrument. If you couple fast air speed with a nice high E tongue position, then your high notes shouldn't be that much of a problem. So I'm going to go through some of the exercises that I do to increase my range, and hopefully by the end of it, if you do them in order, you'll be able to get all the way up and all the way down our C major scale with not too much problem. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the first note of the scale. I'm going to hold it on for 1 breath for as long as I can. So those of you who've seen my warm-up video know that I can hold notes on for like 35 seconds, so I'm just going to hold it on for a decent length of time, and I'm thinking about the note being the same at the beginning and the middle and the end. So this is the first note of the piece. I'm going to hold it on for a full breath. So same beginning, middle and end. Apologies about the water. Then I'm going to play the first 2 notes. I'm going to play the first note and then move on to the second note and then hold the second note on second note of the scale on until I run out of breath. So I'm going to go C and then D, and then hold the D on for as long as I can. And again, I'm going to ensure the D is the same at the beginning and the middle and the end of the note. Next up, I'm going to play the first three notes, and then I'm going to hold the E on for as long as I can. Until I run out of breath. Again, ensuring it's the same. Then I'm going to basically carry on that sort of exercise, moving my way up the scale, adding one note each time, and holding the last note I get to until I run out of breath. That time I was tonguing each note, so I was going ta, ta, ta. Once you've gone up the whole scale, holding all the notes on for as long as you can whilst they're tonguing, you can do the same thing but slur it. So this time I'm going to go up to the F of the scale, but I'm going to slur the notes. So I'm just going to tongue the first one and then move my fingers as I go up. So this is the going up to the F. And hold the F on for as long as you can. I'll go up to the G in the slurring way. And again, holding the G on for as long as I can before I run out of breath. So this is the point where you all should pretty much be at now. Going from C up to G, all in one breath, holding the G on until you run out of breath. So now when we're going up to these high notes, we're going to think about a few things. One, we're going to be blowing a little bit faster, or blowing a little bit louder, or both. So a faster, louder airflow. And also, we're going to move our tongue into a nice E position. So I'm going to go through, I'll switch back to the tonguing mode this time. So I'm going to go ta, 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 T. So starting on a ta, switching through the R's and finishing on a T for when I get to the A. And again, hold the A on until I run out of breath. Do the same thing going up to the B this time. Holding the B on until I run out of breath. And then hopefully by then, all the way up to the high C, making sure ta for the low ones, ta for the middle ones, and T for the high ones. Until you run out of breath on the high C. So when you're up to that point, and you can hold your high C on for quite a few beats before you run out of breath, you could then do the descending version of the scale. So you'd start on the high C, and then hold the B on for as long as you could. Start on the high C, go down to the A, hold the A on for as long as you can. High C down to the G, high C down to the F, high C down to the E, then to D, and then the whole scale on the way down. Then you can play the whole scale all the way up and all the way down in one breath, thinking about getting louder and quieter as you go up and down, or blowing slower to blowing faster and back down, and also ta through ta to T and back down ta and finish with the ta. So this is the full scale. So in one nice breath, all the way up and all the way down. I tongued all the notes that time. This time I'm going to slur all the way up and down at exactly the same speed. So with these high notes, I definitely recommend starting with your lip slur exercises on page 16. And then when you're thinking about increasing your range, going through those scale exercises, make sure you do them in both ways. Make sure you say t and tongue each one, and then make sure you do the slurred version. Some of you might find the tonguing version easier. Some of you might find the slurring version easier, but unfortunately you need to be able to do both. So if you can play up and down tongued and up and down slurred, then you're in a really good place. And most of the pieces that we will be looking at, you'll be able to play all of the notes. One final thing, once you're happy with playing those high notes, you can now add some lip slur exercises that go up to those higher notes. So just let me find the page. So it should be called Slur 2, and it's on page 30 in the trumpet book. So this is an extension from page 16, the slurring 1. And instead of using 2 tongue positions, this one uses all 3, the tor, the tar and the t, or the O-R-E, if you're slurring. So if you have a look at the first 2 little exercises, if you ignore the bracketed notes for the moment and just look at the main notes starting in the second bar, then the first exercise is just practicing our R to E tongue position, so it's G up to high C. So it sounds like this. So slightly faster airflow required, but R to E syllables. The second exercise, again ignoring the little bracketed notes at the start, that uses all 3 of our tongue positions, so C to G to C, O-R-E, sounds like this. So those 2 exercises are basically introducing all 3 tongue positions. The rest of the exercises on page 30, the Slurs 2 page, the first 3 main exercises, again very similar to the previous ones. They're just sort of slightly longer, elongated exercises, again practicing those 3 tongue positions, and they all use no fingers. So if you practice the first 3 lines, I would ignore the rest of the page for the time being, but I think we've covered quite a few little exercises to increase your range, and hopefully you've learnt a few extra notes while we're doing this. So just to recap the new notes that we've been through, low B, second valve, low B flat is first valve, and low A is first and second valves. High A is 1 and 2, high B is second valve, and high C is no valves. And then also we've covered F sharp in the middle, which is second valve as well. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon.